big fan of the big three, as all veterans should be. This is another version of the big three I like to talk about, which is extremely common conditions that I've seen in post 9/11, specifically post 9/11, but this is really generational. And those three are mental health, sleep apnea, and migraines. And those three ratings can warrant a veteran a 93%. I'm going to show you something here because I want this on paper. So I like using the DAV calculator here. Boom, share this tab. Have you ever, this is my favorite calculator. It used to be Hill and Potton's calculator, but I've changed my mind. And so what I want to show you is 70% no bilateral for mental health, 50% for sleep apnea. We're already at 90, and another 50% for migraines puts you at 93. You can see that down here. What's really cool about this is if you have two 50s, that goes to 80%. And if your mental health rating comes back at 50, so now you have 50, 50, 50, you're still at 90%. That's what I like to call the big three when it comes to these disabilities specifically, because they are extremely common. You can have mental health, you can have sleep apnea and migraine secondary to that mental health, or direct service connection. And there's a pretty big chance if you have like PTSD, you're going to have sleep apnea and migraines direct anyways. And with that, it's a really weird, how are we going to move off of mental health, sleep apnea, and migraines? Because what's weird, Jason, is we talk about don't focus on high value claims, which is true. We don't want to focus on high value claims. What you should do is focus on everything. And if you only focus on high value claims, let's say you got 70, 50, 50, that puts you at 93%, which is really good, by the way. That's what I call a good 90, right? Because 85, that's the worst 90% you can have. If you focus on high value claims, now you're at 93. And it kind of reminds me of someone saying, hey, should I submit for tinnitus, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, don't poke the bear. You're at 93. Be happy. And it's like, well, two things there. One, don't poke the bear is dumb. Two, you need to be properly rated. So don't only focus on high value, right? Get the high value claims in there, get tinnitus in there, get hypertension at 0% in there. Whatever it is you can be rated for, right? That's when you submit the claims. I see most veterans, Jason, and let me know your experience on this. I see a ton of veterans who are properly rated, meaning they genuinely cannot get any more new ratings, and they're trying to scratch at the wall saying, well, maybe I can get that, maybe I can get that. And I'll ask them, I'm like, well, are you service connect, or are you diagnosed with sleep apnea? Like, no, but I want to go secondary to mental health. And I was like, well, relax. We got to have the like, you can't just say you have sleep apnea, right? But with those big three, mental health, sleep apnea, and migraines, that does put the veteran in a very, very good spot. There are many combinations. I'm just using these three because they're very inherent to post 9/11. But there are many, many combinations of high ratings, and you generally want to see your 50, 50, 50, and those will put you at 90%. Jason, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you great points. And again, you highlighted this hat trick of claims, right?
Yeah.
And show. I was looking forward to saying that. So you with your big three, right? So you got your three claims, and those were considered high value claims, and it took the veteran to a 93, still a 90. And in this example, we could say that veteran, in addition, excluded some low value claims, such as, I got a little bit of a back issue. It's not bad. Okay. Probably gonna be like a 10%. So I forgot about that. I get a little bit of numbness and tingling down each leg, 10% for each leg. Small claims. Who cares? I'm just going to focus on these three big ones, right? 93. But if you would have included that back with your radiculopathy down each side, now you would have been 100.
Yeah.
Right. So all of a sudden, those little ones are actually adding an extra $1,500 per month to your pocket for 3 little tiny claims. So don't focus on the percentage. Again, focus on getting the appropriate rating for your service connected conditions or secondary conditions. A big point that I want to make here, Clay, and I think that this is important, is look, not everybody understands VA funny math, right? Not everybody can rattle it off, but that's why we have the calculator, and you can use it that way. Super important. One of the most important tools in your, I guess, it's an arrow in your quiver, right? So it's another tool for you to accomplish what you want. Utilize that tool, the calculator, along with understanding where all of your ratings currently are. It's important because 90%, like Clay said, is not really 90%. In most cases, it's going to be a different number that's rounded to 90. In this example, it was 93. So knowing that you're at 93 is an important piece to understand. Then going into the rating schedule, all these tools are here. It's your disposal. I mean, you have access to all of this stuff. What you should do, regardless of what rating you are, is 1, look to see what your rating is for every single condition. 2, type each one of those into that calculator. See what your true rating is. Now go back to each condition that you're rated for and cross-reference it with the schedule of ratings. Make sure that as you read it, am I really rated correctly or not? In some cases, it might be hard to tell. In other cases, depending on the condition, something like migraines or hiatal hernia, you can read the criteria for each rating, and you, as the patient, can go, oh yeah, I meet that. And if you're not rated appropriately, then what you do is you go in and you change that percentage inside the calculator so you can see how much does that change my rating. Does that push me from a 70% to an 80 or a 90 to 100? How much does it work? Or am I already at the maximum for that specific condition? Why are you going to file an increase on something you're already at the maximum allowable rated rating? You shouldn't, right? However, people do all day long because they think, well, this is that bad that I think it should be higher than this specific rating. There is nothing higher. Dude, you're not going to, they're not going to make a magical rating for you. So utilize the resources that you have, utilize the schedule of ratings, utilize the knowledge of knowing where you currently are, utilize the calculator, and between those things, you can jockey it back and forth to figure out what things you can file increases for. If there's a secondary condition, how much would that impact my overall rating? And if I find any other conditions that I can get service connected, what impact will that have on my overall rating? In some cases, it might not change it at all. In other cases, it might throw you into a way better situation. Oh, and Clay, on that note, you might be 100% today, not permanent in total, but you find another condition that's static in nature that could be that one other condition that you need to have enough static conditions to push you over that 100%. The quick example, myself, I filed multiple claims over my life, probably 7 or 8, had 2 that I pushed into the review process and 1 that I pushed to the board of Veterans Appeals, and they ruled in my favor. Now, during that whole process, I got to 100%, but not permanent in total. And I had 1 condition that was in with the board, okay? When the board approved the increase on that condition, the VA also determined that it was still static, even just at a higher percentage, so still static. That increase in that static condition pushed my static conditions to 100% with 1 condition that was not static that didn't matter. It could be a 0% now. And so I had to poke the bear, tell the VA, hey, look, I have all these static conditions that equal 100. I should be permanent in total. And then they rated me permanent in total. So just keep that in mind, that sometimes you might have a condition that you might not need in order to get you're 100% permanent and total, because sometimes all of your ratings will add up to way over 100%. You could actually remove conditions and still be at 100. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yes.
Back to you.